Okay. So I'm Kimber, and it is 30 minutes for plank and push-up workshop. So happy to be here. I came into a different room so we can have like a view of above and stuff and have a little firmer surface and whatnot. So let us start. Let us start simply standing. So basically, what I'm going to take you through is a few things that I would do to mobilize and wake up muscles and warm up for push-ups and planks, and then we'll build basically how much we can, develop the skill of getting more out of our push up and plank, and then we'll finish off. The plan is to have a little 5-minute sequence in which you can try out what you've learned and have something to take home if you want. So my recommendation first, standing. Find your standing line. What the heck is a standing line? So if you put too much weight in your toes, you'll see that your body shifts forward, and we're keeping our legs straight, our spine pretty straight. And if you put a lot of weight in your heels, you'll feel like you're going to tip backwards. So, somewhere in the middle is where we can try to feel like we're doing a good amount of tail tucking. You can see how I just flattened my lower back gently, and we're feeling our core brace. So, in fact, you can take your hands here on your side waist area and touch this. And if you can feel that this is firming your obliques, that's a good sign that you're somewhat alive in your standing line. If you can feel like it's hard to activate this, or it feels like it's stretched out, like here's an example of mine being stretched out. I could try to firm it, but it's not really, it's definitely very, very far from its best. Okay, so this is really important. Our standing line is super important because that is the same line that you want to have in your push up or your plank. Okay, so we'll just imagine our plank for a moment here and feel, if you can, your core bracing. Once again, you feel free to touch it if you're in doubt, and try out a couple adjustments on yourself. Like if you do this, oh, it will tighten up your lower back, which is one of the biggest problems people have in the plank. Their lower back turns into this saggy trough, and that's no good. That's not going to work your core. It's going to agitate your back. So we have to be flexible enough to achieve this slight flattening and strong enough to hold it with our core muscles. Okay, so that's a quick snippet on the standing line. With our standing line, we're going to take our right arm up to the sky. This is good for rotator cuff and for activating all around the shoulder and lat. So I'll give some different views as I coach us through this. Right arm is straight. Your right shoulder blade is drawing down from your ear. Your palm turns outward. So thumb is away from your face. And then while your arm is reaching back at a high diagonal, I'm just going to be turning around as I do this. You should not turn around. You should face one direction. Your arm is reaching backward and it's spinning inward. Yeah. Try to feel your right shoulder blade down more from your ear as you're bracing in the core. Good. Okay, great. The end point of this is called a glenohumeral car. Our shoulder joint is the glenohumeral joint. A car is a controlled articulated rotation. The end point is back here. And now we're going to spin oh, let's take a moment. Feel your tricep turn on if possible, the upper back of the arm. And now, all the while, I'm actually getting warm, shockingly, because I'm bracing the core, bracing the legs. And now I'm going to spin the arm bone from the upper arm to external rotation. My thumb is backward, my palm is aiming at the camera, and my arm is going to start reaching backward. Now, if you like shoulder rotator cuff injuries, I have a significant one. So my circle is going to differ from other circles. In fact, there might be spots where someone with an injury would have to carve around, like not make a perfect circle, but gently navigate around any points of pain or any points where you feel like you've lost the engagement, particularly losing the lat engagement. So our arm is back up to the sky and then resting it down. Let's try the other side as I let someone in. Okay, side two, left arm is up by your ear, palm is facing inwards. We feel our shoulder depressed. Try to find that standing line of core bracing. Turn the arm bone. It's easy to turn it from your hand, but what you want to try to do is feel that it's turning from the top of the shoulder joint, right? So it's turning from here rather than your wrist, elbow, or hand. But those are a good guidepost to know like what the heck direction we're going. Now, arm reaches up and back. Keep bracing your core. Keep your tummy tight. Yeah. Keep depressing. This upper range is where it's harder to keep your shoulder down from your ear. Now we're internally rotating as we reach backward. The upper arm bone is spinning medially or inward towards our middle line. Reach the arm low and back. See if you can turn on more tricep and maybe turn on your lat. If you are really lucky, if you are really engaging well, you might feel cramping here. That is hard to achieve, but that's like a high level goal. Okay. Arm spins outward now. Again, it's coming from the top of the shoulder joint. Reach it back. All the while, if someone were to smash into you here, like you're firm, you're trying to find your rooted standing line position. Arm is reaching back and up and to the sky, and rest that down. So the goal is to have a lot of tension in your arm. You can also do those shoulder cars with lesser tension if you feel like something is agitated. So we're going to do an imaginary push up in the air now. Once again, we're trying to find our standing line, feeling your tail tucking, your hands reaching forward. And can you create tension by your shoulder blades drawing down? So one of the spots you want to aim to feel tension is here. In fact, let's touch here. So use one hand and touch here and see if you can draw your shoulder blades downward so this turns on more. If you're in an arch or some other wacky position, it's going to be much, much harder to get this to work. This is the serratus, as serratus anterior muscle, along with some lats. Okay. So now with that engaged, can you find the force that you would need if you were to do a really difficult push-up? So I'm slow motion. Once again, don't rotate around. I'm just showing you different views. Slow motion, the elbows are bending about 45 degrees downward. And I'm pretending like I'm pushing, like I'm pulling a refrigerator towards myself. And then I'm going to pretend like I am pushing the refrigerator away from myself, something really heavy. Push, push, push it away and relax down. Okay, let's go to hands and knees. We're going to go to cat cow. And as I said, feel free to stop me anytime if you have a question, if you're like puzzled on anything. So hands and knees, cat cow. This is the other warm up thing I would do before a plank. So cat cow, everyone's used to doing wee, I'm just round, and wee, I'm in an arch. Now, how can we make this more active so it would actually translate well to a plank? Let's make that upper body stronger. So some of those ideas that we tried to feel standing, now you have something to press against. You have the floor. We're going to tuck the tail, scoop your lower tummy in. Let's pause here because this is a really important place where it's kind of akin to that standing line where your lower back is a little rounded and hopefully your tummy is pulled in. Now let's stay here a moment and just push the hands forward and away from yourself, away from your knees as your shoulders draw down from the ears. Let's continue into our super round spine. So more abdominals. We're letting our lower back get a stretch, our middle back, our upper back. We're pushing into the ground, push, push, push into the ground. Your glutes can turn on. External rotation for your upper arm bone. We sort of touched on that with the arm car, but it can be confusing on the floor. And then arching, let's keep the tension. So one of the things I want you to kind of grow in or to try to explore today is how can you create more tension without necessarily doing like a harder move, right? So the movement is not that hard, but how can we generate more force so that we're getting more out of it in our body? And in fact, we're getting good stuff like our joints into happy places. Last time, cat cow, tuck the tail, scoop your tummy in, get super round through your spine. Notice probably your shoulders rose up to your ears. Can you straighten your arms, spin the upper arm bone so the elbows point back at your thighs, and depress your shoulders? All of that makes me start to sweat. Oh my gosh. And now releasing tail, sinking waist, and arching your spine. Okay. I want to do one other. Well, we'll just keep building this. So one other thing I think would be useful in our plank is better glute work. How do we work that in an isometric way? Isometric is engaging without moving. So we're going to lie on our stomach here. It's arm position suggested, elbows bent, and feel what it's like to arch your back. So stick your tail up in the air. This would be terrible in a plank. Now, feel what it's like to press your pubic bone into the floor. And because I'm wearing these crazy colored pants, you can see clearly the glutes turning on. So feel yourself. If you're in doubt, if your glutes are turning on, you can touch your butt. It's your own, right? And feel your pubic bone pressing hard into the floor. And maybe also stick your hands in the sides of your waist area and see if you can feel some of that drawing away from the floor or firming if you poke into your tummy area. And then relax. So now we're going to take about 30 to 45 seconds of engaging glutes and core. So same task, pubic bone presses hard into the ground. And how can we just escalate the tension here? So we're squeezing our glutes, maybe 40% of our maximum, ramping it up to 60%. You can engage all parts of your body here. Your thighs could turn on more. Your arms could press into the ground more. In fact, imagine if you had to do a scary push-up coming up from the ground in this manner. It would be really hard. But we exert all the force towards the concept of doing a push-up from the floor here. Squeeze it. Let's get about 10 seconds more. Can anything tighten more, but particularly your butt and abs? Can we find more fibers? Can we find a more intense activation? And relax. Ah, okay. So we've primed ourselves in the shoulder. We've primed ourselves in the butt, in the abs. We're going to do a little more ab priming before we go back to our plank. All right. So lying on our back, hollow body position. We're going to investigate this. Pretend that you're coming into a plank. You're lying on your back. Your hands are up to the ceiling above the shoulders. And let's curl up, head, neck, and shoulders. Curl up. Feel how your lower back presses into the floor. And then to make it even more tough for your core, if you want, add your right leg floating 1 inch to 6 inches off the ground. Add your left leg floating 1 inch to 6 inches off the ground. Hold it. Breathe. Feel your lower back pressing into the floor. And then gently relax yourself down. We'll try that twice more. So hopefully you could feel a lot of core there. And please feel free to modify this, right? If you feel like your lower back is agitated, just practice doing the upper body or a single leg only. We'll do it one more time. Here we go. Shoulder blades down. Pretend we're doing again that standing plank, which we tried. Curling up your chest. Float one leg, if you wish. Float the other leg. Feel your lower tummy tight. Feel your shoulder blades drawing down. Pretend that you're in a plank. On the floor, it's actually harder because gravity is working on you in a really hard direction. And relax down. Okay. Now we're going to go to a wall plank at a wall. So if you don't have a wall, you can do this section kneeling, but probably you're at your house. You probably have some sort of wall that we can work with. So, is anyone else warm? Okay, we're headed over to the wall. We're going to be just arms distance away from the wall, and our feet beyond the shoulder. They're maybe 3 inches further away from the wall than our shoulder is. We've got straight arms. Now we have something once again to apply force into. So can you find a little bit of that hollow body position like we just practiced on the floor? Can you feel your lower tummy drawing inwards? Can you feel your lower back elongating and spacious? We did it in 2 ways on the floor. We did it face down on the floor, squeezing on our butt and tummy, and then we did it face up just moments ago. Okay, there's more that we can do with our arms now. So arms, spread out your fingers, make your fingers like a giant fan. Feel your arm bones, the upper arm bone externally rotating, the elbows aiming downward more towards the ground. And now try to feel that you're pushing really hard into the wall. Again, it's that idea that you had to move like a 500-pound refrigerator. Can you imagine uprooting this wall from its foundation? What's going to help you exert more force in the wall? Your abs, your legs. It's all about how we create the line in our body to be able to exert more tension, to be able to exert more strength. So the alignment of our body is so important. And then once we've got the alignment sorted out, it's like, how do you turn on the muscles more so that you can direct the force into the ground and into the wall? Okay, rest a moment. Give your arms a little shake. We'll now take a push up at the wall. So we're going to go really slow, hands pressing into the wall. We're uprooting the wall from its foundation. And just like we practiced in the air, our elbows are angling down towards the floor about 45 degrees. I've bent my elbows about 2 inches thus far, bending another inch. Keep trying to draw your shoulder blades down. Feel your lower tummy pulled in. And in your bent elbow position, you don't have to bend in super far. It's totally up to you where you can feel you're exerting the tension. Stay here for a moment and see what muscles you can turn on more. Maybe again, it's the shoulders drawing down. Maybe it's the tail tuck. My biceps are getting very tired here. And slowly begin straightening. Take about 10 seconds to come back to straight. At every single moment, I'm wondering how you can exert more force into the wall, is what you'll feel mostly. You're also exerting force into the floor, but that's not as obvious. We're always exerting force on the floor when we're walking and standing. Okay, rest from that. So that was one darn hard wall push up, I hope. We're coming down again, building from here. So we're going to go now kneeling plank and kneeling push up. Um, yeah, that's where we're headed. Here we go to the floor, kneeling plank, right? So you can see we're building everything differently. And honestly, I have to tell you, sometimes the wall push up, if I'm really focused, it's harder than these ground ones because if you can exert all that force into the wall that you would in the floor, you might be, just getting something a different experience than on the floor. Okay, so hands are just a little wider than the shoulders. We're taking time to feel our shoulder blades drawing down. Let's try one here, one push up of our elbows angling 45 degrees, and then we're going to try some different angles. So we're going super slowly with this kneeling push up, much like at the wall. Check in with your head. A common problem is the head falls forward too much. So we basically want the line of the neck to be matching the line of the upper back. Once you've bent your elbows, I haven't even bent myself down to the ground very far. My chest is a full 8 or 10 inches off the floor, but my arms are shaking like crazy because I'm activating and I'm working the external rotation and the depression of the scapula. Now slowly straighten your arms and take a rest. Okay, try out one or two more. Do we have any questions? No, the time is flying. Okay, we're doing very well, I hope. I feel excited. I hope you can hear it in my voice. All right, here we go. Two more kneeling planks. Kneeling. In your all fours position here, you finding your line. If your tail is up, it's not going to be as successful. If your shoulders are up, it's not going to be as successful. We try to feel our glutes turning on, all those things we've activated, and here we go, elbows bending. You are welcome to try out your elbows angling a little narrower. So we started with the 45. Now think of maybe like 60 degrees, a tighter angle of the elbows in towards your ribs. Slowly press to straighten and rest. Okay. Next one, we're going to try our elbows in even more. So as we change the angle of the arm bone and the bending angle, it winds up targeting more triceps. So our wider position was more chest, more pec. And now our narrower position, let's go ahead and try our elbows aiming pretty much directly back towards your hip bones. Elbows slowly bending, shoulders drawing away from ears. Check in with your butt, check in with your tummy. If you find that you're losing certain things, I would stop there. You don't need to go further. I was thinking about this workshop and I was like, my push-ups, I'm not at this point right now. I'm really about the activation. I'm not about trying to make a special shape. So I'm not going all the way to the floor. I can, but it gets sloppy. So I prefer to work where I can feel that everything is well organized. Okay. Now let us try a full plank. If you don't want to do a full plank, any of these things, you can just go back to what we've done before. Full plank. Here we go. First thing I want to do is practice getting into the full plank with quality of the spine and quality of the shoulders. So shoulders draw down from your ears. Feel that lower tummy pulling in. Feel the bottom ribs pulling in. We have the feeling like our hands are spinning outward away from each other. Step one leg back without moving your spine. Step the second leg back with zero movement of your spine. And just stay here for a moment. We're holding our plank and we're checking in. Are there any parts that can work to support us better? Are there any parts that can work harder, but in a happy way that makes our joints happy, not that makes our joints angry or any like lower back or neck or shoulders have pain? We don't want to have pain. We want to have things working hard. Okay, squeeze your butt on. Pretend that, again, this is just like what we did in the beginning on our back, doing the hollow body shape, but now we've flipped it over. Rest your knees down. Take a moment of child's pose or take a breath. Breathe into your ribs. See how much your ribs can expand, especially the low ribs and lower back area. Okay, we're going to try our push-up in the full plank position. Here we go. It can be super tiny. Be respectful of where your joints are and where you feel stable. Stepping back into your plank, try not to move at all. So step one foot back, step the other foot back. We take a few seconds to get set up and slowly bend your elbows. 1 inch, maybe 2 inches. Maybe you stop there, maybe you go lower, but check in that your shape is held. At the bottom, can you hold it? And then press back up and rest your knees down. Now, say you're pretty good at going down, but the up is kind of messy. Here's a couple common problems on the up. A lot of people are doing better with their elbows in on the down, but on the up, they wind up with their elbows too far to the side to come back up. And that is really not as healthy for the shoulder joint. So here's an idea. We're going to go down in the plank position and we're going to come up with our knees on the floor. Here we are, stepping into your plank. Slowly bend your elbows. Think of going 1 inch for every 1 slow second. When you get to a spot where you start to lose your shape or you feel like you're giving up, put your knees down. Don't give up the tension. Don't be lazy. Keep your shape. We practiced kneeling push-up, so you can apply it now. And press back up, slowly keeping the tension while you're on your knees. We'll do that one again because this is really an excellent idea if you're like trying to build up from, level 1 to level 2 here. So finding your plank, spending a moment in your plank. Bend the elbows super slowly, lower, lower. Only as low as you're keeping your shape, as you're keeping your externally rotated upper arm. Knees lower, keep the tension, do not give up the force. Press back up to straight arms. Yay, okay, rest. And then I wanted to show just some other ideas. You could do a decline push-up. So if you're on the more advanced side, you could put your feet on something higher. And this would change again what parts of your pec and what parts of your shoulder are supporting you. So if you just want to try that, if you have something handy, if you're not on a wall in your house probably, but you can even do your feet on a wall if it's like a mirror or a surface that you can stick to. Okay, so wow, that has brought us to 5 minutes from the end. So we're going to go into just a couple more variations and then our little series. One other idea I want you to try is moving 1 inch at a time, but kind of in a little bit quicker fashion. So you can choose to do this kneeling, you can do this at the wall or in the full push-up. We're going to start in our plank position of choice and then bend 1 inch, pause. Bend another inch, pause. So it's a little like a surprise for your body. Bend a 3rd inch, pause. Maybe a 4th inch, pause, and come back up. 1 inch. Make it like a little micro explosion, little micro explosion, little micro explosion. Let's do that one more time. Here we go. Down, pause, like you fell and catch yourself. Fall and catch, fall and catch. Going back up. 1 inch, bounce yourself up. push yourself up, explode against the ground or the wall or whatever you've chosen, and rest. Ah, okay. So, for your 5-minute routine, here's what I would suggest. The first minute of a 5-minute routine for yourself would be your car. So, that would be your shoulder, car, and spine, which we'll just review very briefly. So, we won't take the full minute. Kneeling, standing, whatever you choose. Here we go. One arm up by the ear, palm turns outward. Yeah, arm reaches back, tracing that circle as your arm bone is rotating. Yeah, Amber, depress the right shoulder a little bit more and spin the arm bone. Circle it around. Keep checking in with your standing line, or if you're kneeling posture with a tightly braced core. Good, good. The arm bone stays straight. Yes, and rest it down. Side two, arm is up, tight tummy. Spin the arm bone. I'm just shifting around so you can see my arm bone more. I don't recommend doing that. And the arm bone circles around, internally rotating. The palm winds up facing the ceiling. Good, good. Long neck. Externally rotate. Begin circling. Back and up, super smooth. Yay. Okay. And then just give yourself one cat-cow. Here we are. Round spine. Pushing hands forward. And arching spine. Okay, we've got 1 minute for a plank. 1 minute, a plank of your choice. You can do it on your elbows, you can do it on your hands, you can even do the kneeling version. Here we are, time begins right now. 2, 1, let's hit it. So I would welcome you to just focus in, dial in on your plank of choice. If you're on the elbows, think of your elbows squeezing together as your hands spread apart. Think of your glutes on, whichever one you've chosen. Think of your tummy pulled in. We're 20 seconds down, 1/3 of the way. So squeezing, and your goal is to build the tension in a quality way. Maybe you can feel like you're more externally rotated in the upper arm. We're very nearly at 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Make your thighs a little stronger, make your butt a little tighter. We're breathing. Last 10 seconds. Breathing. And finishing in 3, 2, 1. Rest. So 1 minute of plank after your 1 minute warm up. And now we'll do 1 minute of a twisting plank, So you can choose to do this in a high plank position. We're going to rotate your feet to one side and then bring them to center and rotate to the other side. You're welcome to do this on your hands. You're welcome to do it even on your knees. And I want you to go slowly and see if you can feel that you're retaining that little bit of rounding your lower back and keeping your pubic bone forward. All right, we've got 20 seconds left of this twisting plank. So once again, once you've twisted your feet and hips to one side, see if you can feel the obliques. As my feet aim right, my left obliques get super fired up. And then as the feet aim left, right obliques get super fired up. And that was 1 minute. Okay, next action, a push-up of your choice. We've got 1 minute to do push-up of your choice. If you're like, I've learned so much, now I want to go fast, you can try that as well. You could go slow, you could go fast. Focus on keeping the core brace and keeping the exertion of force happening. Slow, quick, up to you. We've given a few different variations. After this, we've got one little finale to finish us off. So I'm just thinking for myself, my right shoulder likes to come up. What are my personal points where I need to focus? I want to depress that shoulder. One of my personal points is when I straighten the arms. I want to go internal rotation. So I'm thinking of the external on that time. We've got 5 seconds left to get us out of this. Here we go. Bracing, tightening your glutes. Okay. Final variation, final variation. Any that you've shown, any that I've shown you thus far, or I'm going to give you a few new ones. So one of them, please begin if you're doing the workout. One of them is a single arm reach. So from kneeling or straight arm push up, take your push up, reach one arm forward. Take your push up, reach an arm forward. Notice we're trying to stay really stable. Another option, a plyometric. I'm going to show it on the knees. Bend and push off. Push off, right? That's not my strength, but for some of you, who knows, you might be into that. Okay, another variation, a pike push up. Lifting up into a down dog position, elbows bend. Please make sure if you try the pike that your elbows, again, are angling 45 degrees or narrower. You don't want them going wide to the side here. That's going to put a lot of stress on your shoulder joint in a very unsupported way. You've got the incline option, the decline option, and rest. Yay! So that is your 5-minute little scenario. And if you want me to send that to you, just pop your email in the chat and then I will send you the little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-minute thing. And thank you so much for coming. How quick and fun was that?
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kimber.
Thank you. Glad to have everyone.
Thank you, Kimber.
And good to see you. Yay. All right.
Good to see you when I don't have people calling me like every 5 minutes.
That's a plus. That's awesome. All right.
Have a good evening. See you soon.
Likewise. Take care.